Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us today for this morning's webinar. And it's such a beautiful, bright and sunny morning as well. So thanks very much for coming on and joining us to hear our conversation with Tracey Prince and Frankie Lake. And we're going to be hearing all about Cazoo and how they have automated some of parts of their AP process. And I think now, as we've been talking about in some of our webinars recently, and if any of you are on the webinar, came to our event at the Hurlingham Club on Tuesday, there's never really been a better time or a more important time, bearing in mind everything that's going on in relation to high interest rates, higher rates of inflation, for example, and in the wider economy as well, to make sure that we can control what we can within our AP processing to try and gain some of those more efficiencies. So we're going to be talking to Tracey Prince from Cazoo, who is the head of shared services, very shortly. And if you have any questions that you want to raise throughout the webinar, you can do that just over on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar control panel. There's a chat function. So just type in any questions that you might have in there, and then we can ask Tracey or Frankie to answer those questions at the end. So just you can do that at any point that occurs to you during the course of the webinar. And like I say, we'll address those questions right at the end of the webinar. So we are very happy to be joined, as I said, by Tracey. And perhaps you want to maybe just give yourself a brief introduction to yourself, Tracey.
Hi, everyone. As Ellen says, my name is Tracey Prince. I'm the Senior Shared Services Manager at Cazoo. I look after the transactional functions, so they are accounts payable, accounts receivable, and the payments team. Been at Cazoo since January 21. My role was predominantly to come in, stabilise the processes, automate as much as possible, and so yeah, that's where I am at this present moment in time.
Lovely, thank you, Tracey. 2021, wow, what a time! Right in the middle of the deepest, darkest lockdown as well. That must have been quite a challenge, which I'm sure we'll hear about in just a second. And Frankie Lake, who isn't Dan Kimpton, if you want to introduce yourself as well, please.
Yes, Frankie. Hi everyone. Yeah, as you can probably see, I'm not Daniel on your screens, but yeah, my name's Frankie and I'm one of the account managers at AP Matching. So we're going to be talking about our statement matching product today, and I worked very closely with Tracey on our Cazoo implementation. So I think it's a better job that I'm on the call with Daniel today anyway.
Fantastic. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, both of you, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of your insights this morning and sharing those with everybody on the webinar. So, Tracey, just want to talk us a little bit about who is Cazoo, and just tell us a little bit about the background to wanting to start your road down this automation process, please. That would be great. Right.
Yeah, no problem. So Cazoo are the leading independent online car retailer. We've got head offices in central London, so right in the middle of St Pancras and Houston. So Cazoo launched in December 19 and have sold in excess of 100,000 cars online. Their mission is to make buying and selling cars as simple as ordering any other product online. So we're transforming the car buying and selling experience across the UK by providing a better selection of cars, value for money, transparency of sale, convenience and peace of mind. So that's where we are currently in this space. So Ellen, can I have the next slide, please? So when I started at Cazoo, the challenges were it's grown really rapidly, and the accounts payable team had a huge increase in volumes of invoices. This was brought on by acquisitions in companies and just the sheer volume of purchases that were being made for parts and other incidentals. So they were just finding it very, very difficult to keep up with the volumes of invoices and processing them. So because of that, there was multiple payments on accounts. So the team were unable, and this was solely due to the fact that the team was unable to keep up with the invoice processing volumes. So we had duplicate payments because we had payments on accounts, and because of the lack of statement reconciliations, we were just paying large amounts of money on accounts just to keep them going and to keep and to have it not affect the business. So obviously we had a large number of manual payments because of that, because we had no invoices in the system. So the team were always reacting to situations and not being proactive in sort of any way working. So it was a very chaotic scene. So next slide, please. So the next slides, I'll just show you and I'll just explain how statement matching transformed the experience of the Cazoo AP team and also how they feel about it as well. So yeah, next slide, please. So my mission was to give Cazoo the best AP function that I thought we could have. So obviously every company wants to have the best AP solution, to have invoices paid on time, so that their reputation in the community and in the car industry is good. So the team wanted to work proactively, provide effective reporting and cash flow information. Because we had such a large number of invoices that weren't processed, we couldn't give accurate cash flow information. So there was large holes and large differences in our reporting every single month. We wanted to reduce the need for payments on account and also manual payments. So we wanted to investigate the statement reconciliation queries and also provide the business with the best process that was effective and also a value add for the AP team. So ultimately we wanted to reduce the supply queries, which in effect gives the team more time to deal with the day-to-day things like doing the statement recs and actually requesting missing invoices. So what we also found was the smaller companies were getting missed because the larger companies that affect the day-to-day running of the business were being given all the attention, and the smaller companies were only given attention once they made a noise or once they said they were going to take further action, etc. So we wanted to kind of create an even playing field for all our suppliers. Next, please. So the team is currently made up of 16 full-time employees and 2 fixed-term contractors. The team is growing because of all the manual processes that was needed to process the invoices. The team is based across 3 locations, so one being in Coldmeath, which is just past Birmingham near Stoke-on-Trent. The other one is in London in our head office, and the third one is in Southampton. These locations came about because we acquired businesses in those locations and kept the finance teams that were there in place. So due to the acquisition of these companies, at one time, AP were dealing with different ERP systems. So we ran on Dynamics 365, Navision and NetSuite. So the challenge for me was to find one way of working so that with all systems until everything was transitioned into NetSuite. Next slide, please. So the journey so far. So in 2021, we introduced an OCR system. So that has helped process some of the invoices. We still have some work to do on that because it is not quite what we want. So we're looking at improving that in 2023. 2022, we had the implementation of statement matching. And then in 2023, the focus is to automate and improve the AP process even further. Next slide. So the reasons we chose statement matching were to reduce these time-consuming manual reconciliations, which would increase the time required to resolve the issues that were found. So it was easy to implement. We required minimal Cazoo tech support. The integration with Navision and NetSuite meant that all sites could function in the same way. It's really cost effective, flexible contract. So it varies with volume, the price varies with volume, no additional equipment was required and no minimum contract term. It provides information on invoice processing indicators, so that being invoice number issues, transposition, such as transposition issues, duplicate invoices, missing invoices, credit notes, reduction in supplier queries. So these are all indicators that we were unable to see before, and we would ultimately process the same invoice twice because of a transposition. And so we found we had lots of duplicate payments that way. So with statement matching, we found that automatically gives us the view and the sight of this happening, and also it gives us an indicator of where the teams and different members of the teams are using different invoice numbers or different invoice number patterns to enter invoices, and therefore can create duplications in payments. So we've got auditable statement reconciliations. So we've just had our first year end, and we're going to run into our half year with our first auditable statement matching reconciliation reports. And that for us has gone really well. Our auditors were really happy because they had the same audit statement reconciliation reports across all of our entities. So that was a really big win for us in terms of moving ourselves forward and getting our reputation increased for producing the same set of numbers in the same way across all our teams. It's user friendly, so everyone in the team has been able to use it quite quickly. Easy to read dashboard, excellent reporting functionality, and the training and support has been really good. So anytime we've needed additional training, the team at Statement Matching have just been on board, on hand to actually put in any meetings that we've required, and put in the time to train the team and answer any questions that they've had. Next slide, please. So we found that the benefits are the team really enjoy using it because of the time savings that they've had from it. We've had a couple of new starters, and they found that even though they've never used the system before, they found it really easy to use and understand. Our ledgers are more accurate, which means we give better accrual reporting. We've had a 15% increase in our paid on time statistics, 100% reduction in our payments on accounts. The team are now proactively dealing with supplier queries, and therefore seen a reduction in the supplier queries and accounts that have been put on stop across all of our entities. It identifies issues with invoice processing and helps with team training and improves accuracy. Statement reconciliations can be downloaded and sent to suppliers, so that's made life a lot easier when we're actually requesting missing invoices. We can just download and send it to a supplier and request the missing invoices, and they can also see what status the invoices that we have received are at. So the increased speed of reconciliations means the team can focus on other areas and other actions that are required to complete statement matching, and also other areas of the business in AP that needed tidying up. We've also found that we've been able to help the management accountants in other areas of the business and create more reports for them that mean that month end has become seamless for us. Audit reports are professional and the same regardless of site. So next, please. So what's next for us? So 2023 for us means more automation. So I'm looking at further automating the system by automating our payment runs and cutting time spent on that. Our bank reconciliations are not automated currently, so looking at doing that. We're going to trial the supply portal. So we've got some meetings put in with Frankie and team to look at that. And then we're also going to look at duplicate matching, because that uses the same data as statement matching. So we can't see that that's going to be a huge need for tech support either. And then we're just going to automate our daily uploads to statement matching, because one of the things that we do at the moment is we download and then we upload into statement matching every day, which obviously is a risk, because if someone's off or someone forgets to do it, we have a gap in data. So we're going to be looking at doing that. So 2023 for us is Cazoo. Looks really exciting. Looks more improvements, more process change, and just making everything better and moving on to the next steps in the journey of Cazoo. So thank you very much, everyone.
That's brilliant. Lovely. Thank you very much, Tracey. That was fantastic. Thanks for running through all of that with us. And a smooth month end and happy auditors. What more could you ask for?
Absolutely.
That's great. Thanks very much, Tracey. Frankie, do you want to talk to us a little bit more about statement matching and AP matching, please?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for that, Tracey. So yeah, like I said, so we basically have 3 products under one umbrella, which is AP matching. Now I'm going to focus on statement matching today, but as Tracey mentioned, we also have another product in duplicate matching, which we're going to delve into a little more with Cazoo, and it uses the same data set also. But yeah, like I said, today's just on statement matching. Yeah, next, you can probably skip 2 slides there, Ellen. Thanks. So okay, the key benefits with statement matching really is that we're providing a no-touch process for you to reconcile your PDF and your Excel vendor statements. So I'm sure you're all very well aware how time-consuming it is, especially with PDF statements, to reconcile them and go line by line and extract the information off of those. Excels, some companies use VLOOKUPs and stuff, but PDFs do pose a very big problem for companies still. The next one in the list, the automated reporting and the exception processing, that's kind of the key thing. So coupled with that third point, the reconciliation, basically we estimate that you can reconcile around 10 times the volume of statements in AP if you automate the process. Now, if you've got a 20-line, if you've got a 20-page statement, sometimes they can be hundreds, sometimes thousands a line. It's not a fun job for AP to be doing. And on the next slide, on the next couple of slides, I'll just show you a couple of screenshots where you can see that in action and how it looks. But what we're really trying to get at here, what we're really trying to offer, is a proactive part of is a proactive process in AP. Just going to pull this up. So Tracey touched on this as well, but we're at statement matching, we're really trying to drive a more proactive process. So instead of being reactive and reconciling a supplier statement once you're maybe put on stop, or a supplier is requesting payment for an invoice, really try and find the root cause of why you've got missing invoices and why you've got so many transposition errors, and try and reconcile your statements in a timely manner. And then on the back end of that, also get some reports out to your vendors as well, and give them due dates for payments, give them statuses of invoices, and really introduce it as a key part of the process within AP. And again, so as Tracey mentioned, there's no implementation cost with statement matching. So you provide us with a file, and then basically we're good to go. And it's just monthly billing with no minimum term. So it's a 30-day rolling contract, and you're not signed up to anything longer than that, and there's no hidden costs. All training is included. That kind of go live process on our end, we have a kickoff call on go live where we train the team on how to use statement matching, and then following on from that, we'll kind of typically have a weekly call to hold your hand through the process, answer any questions throughout the early stage, and then we move them out to monthly service reviews once you're comfortable with using the system. Next slide, please. Thanks. So yeah, as you can see, I'm not going to spend too much time on the finer details on this slide, but you can see the dashboard. So when you log into statement matching, which is all accessible on the cloud, you come into this dashboard, and it's just giving you some key figures on some of your fundamental errors, such as your missing credits on the left, potential duplicates, and then on the right hand side, you can see on that statement line section towards the bottom, we've got a high number of matched lines, and that's really what we're trying to drive. You want to have that number as high as possible, and then you want to be reducing the errors down in the other categories to as low as possible, effectively. Now, lots of customers have different ways of working on statements. I'm sure you know, everyone has their own kind of methods, whether that be working by alphabet, whether that's the team have their own list of suppliers that they're used to working on every month, and that you can really choose how you work statements in statement matching. You can look at the reports and drive that by type of error. You can use a search page and search for anything you want, such as vendor number, vendor name, company code, company ID, are they a critical vendor or not, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, this just gives you a little insight into what the kind of dashboard looks like. Next slide, please. Now, this is a screenshot of the automated rec happening. So when you when you funnel into a statement, this is what you're going to be seeing. Now, just as a brief overview, we've got your supplier statement data on the left and your ERP data on the right. So we can see that the doc date, number, amount, whether the invoice is an invoice or a credit, and the currency has matched completely on most of these lines, because we've got the corresponding match data on the right hand side from whatever ERP system it is that we're getting data from. Now, what this example is showing is that credit halfway down and the invoice right at the bottom, it's on the supplier statement, but it's completely missing out of the ERP. So as you can see, there's a note on the left hand side, which probably means someone's been into this statement, they've requested the missing invoice from the vendor by sending off a report, and then they've maybe left a note on the line to keep an audit trail of that as well. Next slide, please, Ellen. Thank you. And this is an example of that report you can send off to the vendor. Now, like I said, we're really trying to get customers to treat statement recs as a proactive process. So, you know, if you can get this report, as lots of our customers, including Tracey, are doing, out to vendors each month, then typically they don't have to query you for this info. So we're getting all of this info out of your ERP, and what it's saying is, you know, next to your missing items, you can configure a message to tell the vendor what you want to happen. In this case, it's send a copy to that email address. So we've got an actionable message that we're giving the vendor, and then alongside that, we're giving them payment info and statuses of invoices as well. So, you know, it's really about giving the vendor as much info as possible, keeping your vendors happy, paying them on time, etc. Next slide, please. Thanks. So yeah, just a little on how you get started with statement matching as well, to show you kind of how simple the process is. So essentially, you send us your invoice data and your vendor data. Now, typically, you'll be able to pull a file in a very similar format that we need to go live. It's just going to be like a header level data. So it's going to be like a header at the top and then invoice data following on from that. Now, we import around six months to a year's worth of historical data and all open invoices as like a day one send. And then what we expect to receive every night or every day is just a file with anything that's either been paid, or even better, anything that's changed in the last 24 hours. So we're just then getting a Delta file each day, preferably automated out of your system, coming over to us via FTP. And then that imports into statement matching every night, and it re-reconciles it on the statements that we have in the system. So every time you log into the system, it's always up to date. You know yourselves, as you're reconciling statements, you're receiving missing copies, you're fixing errors in the ERP. A statement rec is very quickly out of date, and with statement matching, you know, every time you log in, it's always current. Now, a key part of our process is with your supplier statements, you can send them over in any format of PDF and Excel. We just give you an email address, and you just forward on or send any of your vendor statements that you want to reconcile to us, and we actually manage that part of the service for you. So you don't have to open the statements, you don't have to look at them at all. You just send them on to us, and then we kind of do the rest and take that pain point away from you. So really, it's as simple as giving us your invoice data, send over your supplier statements, and then you just attend that hour training session on Go Live, and then we're kind of up and running by that point. It takes us a few days to configure the system, but we don't charge for training or anything. We don't charge for implementations to get to this point. Like I say, it's just as simple as getting us that file in the format that we need. Next slide, please. Okay, so a little bit on the commercials. It's a pay-as-you-go kind of agreement. So like I said before, it's a 30-day rolling contract, no minimum term, no implementation charge. And the kind of big thing here is this free proof of concept. So all of our customers will do a proof of concept before going live with us. Now it's kind of a great use case for both parties, this, because we get a great understanding of your data and your processes, so we can give you an opportunity to mold some custom fields, etc., into the file that you're giving us. We can also work alongside IT at this point, to discuss kind of the finer details around that. But it also gives you guys a chance to use the system and run your due diligence before making any commitments to buy the product, or kind of push further forwards than that. Next slide, please. Okay, and just a little bit on us as a company, and this is AP matching. So as a business, we've been implementing invoice automation products for around 20 years now. And around 10 years ago, a lot of our customers were saying, the invoice automation side's great, but do you have anything for supplier statements? And we kind of looked into the market, and there wasn't anything at that point. So we developed statement matching, kind of off of customer feedback in the early days. And since that day one, all developments are driven by customer feedback. So we have monthly service reviews with customers, and what we sort of do is we prioritize those requests and take a look at the feedback that we've got, and then we kind of go, okay, that's a great idea for development, and then we implement. So we still listen to customers. Now it's all hosted on Microsoft Azure, so all our security standards are kind of up to scratch with their platform. Like I said, the development's driven by the end users today, and we have over 100 customers globally now. So some big multinationals that you can see on your screen. But to us, it really doesn't matter what industry you work in, how big you are as a company. If you reconcile statements, then you can use statement matching. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is that it's very flexible on our side as well. We can work to your processes, and we have a lot of extensive features in the system now. So the functionality with statement matching is kind of where we'd like it to be. A lot of the stuff we do now is around the the finer details with the matching rules, and trying to improve match rates for these weird and wonderful ways that our customers have of reconciling statements, really. Okay, yeah, that's me done. Thanks, guys.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Frankie. That's great. Thanks for taking us through all of that information. And thanks also very much to Tracey for the earlier presentation. Got a few questions here. And I think probably the first one is for you, Frankie. Someone's asked, you've talked about NetSuite, but does the system integrate with SAP, for example?
Yes, great question. Yeah, something I should have spent a little more time on, really. So we work with any system, any ERP, and most of our customers, I would say, are giving us data from more than one location. So often, you have invoices sitting in a workflow system or a capture system, and to us, it's important to have all of that data, or as much as necessary, because we don't want to be requesting missing invoices, for example, that are sitting in an outside system. Now, traditionally with systems, we've always got customers to create a report that's very, very simple, and then send it across to us in the format that we need. And that just means that it's got the right headings, so doc numbers, doc dates, payment dates, statuses, etc. But with SAP, our background is also in SAP, so we have a ready-made transport that we can give you to extract the data in the format we need it. So basically, we give you a transport. You kind of give it to your basis team, who run it through the landscape inside SAP. Just comes up with a selection screen, and you kind of tick what fields that you're going to give us access to, and then you give us a file from test, we approve it, give us a file from production, and then we're good to go. So with SAP, we do have that shortcut, which means no development on your end. And also, just on that as well, we're kind of undergoing a massive project at the moment as well, to grab the data via an API for cloud-based systems. So if you do have a cloud-based ERP, where we're kind of ticking the systems off as we're going at the minute, yeah, we're trying to fetch the data via the API for as many systems as possible, and we have that working currently. Will be for NetSuite. We have it for Oracle Fusion, Coupa, a couple of others as well.
Right. Thanks very much, Frankie. And another question for you, Tracey. Did the implementation involve much change management with other AP staff?
Yes, because they were used to doing it manually. So ultimately, with people and systems, some are very system scared. So it was walking them through that process and getting them to just basically understand what it was. But they were, when they saw how easy it was to do, and basically there was really no work for them to do, it was just getting into the system, seeing what was missing, how to get that report out and send it to the suppliers. That was really, really good. So yeah, there was lots of management, but the team love it.
That's good. I mean, I suppose that's word of mouth, then, isn't it? When someone's using it and then seeing that other people are using it well, and it's actually being making those efficiencies better. I guess it makes it then easier for other people to use it. You were going to say something there, Frankie.
Yeah, just on mind on that, and I know obviously Cazoo engaged very well with this, Tracey. It was, that proof of concept is a great advocate of that, because you get the team on, in the early stages before you kind of consider going live and treating it as a project. And once they've had their hands on it and can really see the time savings, it helps us as well, because you're not going live from step one. Everyone in the team's already used the system. You're already kind of half competent in using it. And like I say, it's not then a big bang once it gets to go live. Everyone's kind of raring to go and using it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, that kind of hand holding makes a big difference, doesn't it, for when you do come to that go live phase.
Yeah, absolutely. And if my memory serves me correctly, we had proof of concept for a month, and we had a couple of meetings with statement matching along the way to ask the questions. So the team had all of that time to engage with it, as well as speaking to statement matching, who we had meetings with, and the team created their questions. And then go live, there was still further training after that. So yeah, proof of concept, it's as short as or as long as you want it. And because we had varying skill levels across the team, we felt that a month was a good period of time for them to be able to get used to that.
Yeah, that's a good idea, brilliant idea. Not everyone goes down that route, so well done to both Cazoo and statement matching for making sure that that happened, because we speak to many people who don't treat it in that way and be proactive in the way that you have and work together in that way. Another question, I think, for you, Tracey. How do you ensure that a statement is received from all of your suppliers?
So it's an ongoing battle, I think, because some don't send you statements because we completely pay them on time, and others it's a learning curve. So some will just not send anything, and then you will just get things outstanding. So we've had a concerted effort across all of our team to basically get statements in. So where we have our team and certain people deal with certain suppliers, it's on their KPIs to ensure that they go across all of their suppliers and get a statement in, and also let them know exactly where to send that. So it's been an ongoing battle, but I think when we first started using statement matching, on an average month across the entire team, we were probably looking at about 30 to 40 reconciliations a month. Now we're looking at 400 to 500 a month. So wow. We've seen a huge increase just in that, especially because suppliers will send their statements in and it will automatically be 100% matched. So there is nothing except to complete that statement that the team need to do. And of course, that's a reconciliation completed. So we found that we've had a lot of success with that and the team.
That sounds fantastic. What a massive difference that must have made.
Yeah.
A question which I think is probably for you, Frankie, but maybe Tracey, if you wanted to say something about it as well, that's fine. Someone has asked, does it soft match? So the system, does it soft match? E.g., if an invoice was 1234, and if that one was scanned in as L234, what happens then?
Yeah, so with these, especially with the PDF invoices, so we a little bit of insight into the process on our end behind that. So each PDF invoice will firstly be read for a data layer, if there is one. If not, it goes through our OCR software, and then they'll be basically punched through to our service center, where they're all verified to make sure the information that's read is correct. So, you know, in the very, very rare circumstance that something does get captured wrong, you can just report a capture error to the team and basically tell them to stop or you know, edit the templates that they're capturing. But that's kind of why we have the verification on our end, to make sure everything's uploaded correctly. On the flip side of that, with the kind of matching, the opposite to that is, okay, is there a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the statement? But for example, the team's punched in a prefix or a suffix, for example. Now there's matching logic in statement matching that can be used to a vendor or a system level. So you can essentially train the system to match differently across different suppliers for different rules.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So, and I'd just like to add to that as well, the statement matching does actually tell you when, say, 4 of the fields match and then there's something that doesn't, it kind of highlights it to tell you to check that as well. So because it says it could be a possible duplicate, or it's a possible transposition because it's matching on more than one field. So it will also highlight that to you as well. So you can either accept that that's the correct invoice or not.
Yeah, so it does that, kind of takes out some of that, what gives you more certainty, I guess, doesn't it? You were saying that the reporting on it is excellent as well. So I guess that's one of the areas where the reporting works well, but you still have your own autonomy on it as well, with your human eyes against it. So I think that sounds great. Another question for you, Frankie. Can AP matching work across global business and regions?
Yeah, definitely. We have, again, we kind of let the customer govern this, but we have, you know, a lot of our customers are multinational businesses who roll out certainly to single locations and then kind of on from there. That can work as you want, but yeah, we have customers who have multiple business units, multiple systems, multiple company codes. To us, as long as we're getting the correct data for it, it doesn't really make a difference to us. You can segregate that using the search page, and we've got some improvements coming in around that towards the end of the year as well. But yeah, we have lots of our customers have got more than one locations. I know you have as well, Tracey, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Okay, lovely. And I think there is one more question. So if as a Cazoo supplier, the experience is definitely improved over the last couple of years. Oh, that's good to know. Has there been a tangible improvement there's been a tangible improvement in the payment schedule? So it's more of a statement, I guess, than a question. But that's good to know, isn't it? So
exactly.
That's verification that the system works. And what more can you do for your suppliers than that, really, to give that certainty on the payments and to give them a better experience, which ultimately is what it's all about. One of the things that we were talking about again at our event at the Hurlingham Club last Tuesday was that, you know, to some extent you're thinking you're working in the AP department, perhaps you're working in the procurement department, or you're there as a vendor, as you are a solution provider. But actually, ultimately, what we're all doing is working together and collaborating together to provide a better experience for our customers, because that's what we're all in business to do ultimately. So the more that we can collaborate like that and get that kind of feedback, the better it is for everybody ultimately. So that's all the questions that we've had at the moment. If anyone's got any further questions, then by all means put them forward to me at ellen.leith@p2pnetwork.org, and I can make sure that either Tracey or Frankie gets an answer to any other further questions that come to you. You will get a copy of the slides sent out to you, and a recording also of today's webinar will come out to you as well. If any of you want to contact Frankie, then again, contact me and we can put you in touch. And as I said, any questions that you might have further to do with Cazoo, I can ask Tracey to answer those. I'm sure you guys would be happy to do that.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
so lovely. Thanks very much, Tracey, for sharing your experiences with Cazoo. It's been really interesting hearing some of your insights on how those efficiencies have been gained within your processing as well. So thanks for sharing that story and your journey with us. And Frankie, also thanks a lot for taking us through everything to do with AP matching and statement matching this morning.
Yeah, no problem.
You're
All
welcome.
right, thanks very much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the lovely sunny day. I hope you get a chance to get out into it at some point. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks, Tracey. Cheers, everyone. Bye.